Hello, my name is Shane Bassett, your host, the movie analyst, and it's my great pleasure to say hello to Timo. And you're a long way away. I'm 7 hours ahead of you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm here in Finland, Helsinki, so that's not quite the opposite side of the world, but pretty much like that.
Have you ever been down under to Australia?
Taken?
Have you ever been down under to Australia?
Oh yeah, I actually made a movie in Australia.
I did not know that. What movie?
Oh yeah, I made a film called Iron Sky. We shot all the studio stuff in Australia and the Gold Coast at the Warner Roadshow Studios in well at the Gold Coast. I think that's where
Yeah,
it is.
of course. I totally forgot that Iron Sky was filmed down under. I actually went and saw that when it was released in the cinema.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, we shot all the location stuff in Frankfurt in Germany, and then we shot rest of the stuff, all the studios in definitely over in well, actually, yeah, at the Gold Coast studios. But then we also shot some location stuff in Brisbane, but it was actually quite a thing because there was also really bad floods in Brisbane when we were shooting in 2011, and we were really lucky to get out of the way before the shots. I mean, before the floods really hit badly the city. But it was quite a tragedy to follow how that unfolded. But yeah, we shot some locations over there, but not that much. Mostly locations were in Frankfurt.
When you say it was sad how it unfolded, were you not happy with the final result?
Oh yes, I'm very happy with the how everything went. But what I was referring to was basically the floods and how much sort of troubles they caused for a lot of families who were working on the film
Yeah,
and making it really up. So I was really, I was very sympathetic to the families at the time because they were struggling. We were just trying to shoot a movie, but they were actually struggling to keep their homes
yeah.
intact and everything. So that was quite an upheaval. I think it was one of the worst floods they've had in Australia, or at least in that part of Australia since I don't know when. So that was quite something. But outside of that, we had very good time shooting in Australia, and
Good.
yeah, I've been looking forward to shooting more over there. But so far, film hasn't come across yet, which brought me back. But hopefully, in the future, it will.
Hope so. But with 97 minutes, this now I have a fear of flying. So thank you for that, making me a bit freaked out during the movie.
Yeah, no problem.
Was it always going to
Yeah,
be?
it's
Sorry,
second.
I was just going to say, was it always going to be called 97 minutes, or did you have another name for it?
Well, when I got the script, it was 97 minutes definitely, and I like this. I like the name. I think it's a good name. It tells you like how long you're gonna have to sit suffer in a film theater. It's like this is enough. Okay, I'm out. So you don't have to start guessing it. But no, but it's a nice name because it tells you that within this time frame something interesting happens. The unfortunate thing is that the film itself is not 97 minutes long. It's
No.
93 minutes or something like that. So and I was trying to talk with the producers. I was saying, why don't we just add like I don't know, just slow the end credits to half speed or something, but then it would have been just a tricky but the idea was that yes, 97 minutes is the name, and when starting to work on a film about flying, it's kind of easy to tap into a lot of fears we have about flying.
I'm
Everybody
so
has
cool.
obviously everybody has some untrustness towards flight in general, because in the end what it is that we are a bunch of people in a metal tube flying across the air, 1,000 miles an hour. Of course that makes you a little uneasy, but also in addition to that, the thing about the thing about flying is that it is an enclosed space. If anything, even the smallest thing goes wrong, everything will go wrong. So that's another thing. And then when you add on top of that the fear of terrorism or somebody taking over the plane, that itself is like loading up those little fears on top of each other, which in itself is quite fruitful sort of grounds for making a kind of a thriller movie or a tense movie in itself.
exactly. I have a fear of flying, so yeah, I was a little bit scared throughout. And I mean, it's a serious subject as well. So the matter of a plane being somewhat controversially hijacked and that and being released, when you got the script, or what did you want to do it, or were you surprised that they were going to make a movie with this subject matter?
Sorry, can you repeat the last question? There's a little trouble with me receiving your end.
Yeah, okay. I was just saying it's a very serious subject matter, flying and hijacking, a little bit controversial. Was it something that was it a script that came across your desk and you said you wanted to do it, or how did it come about?
Yeah, it definitely was a script that came across to my desk. I was working with the producers on another project, and actually this script already had a different director originally, but don't know what happened. COVID happened, everything happened, and then those deals. So the script was sort of left floating around, looking for a director. And then it was given to me, and I was first like done science fiction and horror. This itself is like you said, serious topic. It's a real life thing. We have, people who are relatively realistic, portrayed in a realistic way, realistic setting, realistic sort of environment. It was a little bit of a different kind of a movie that I've done before. But then at the same time, when I started to read it, I was like, well, actually, I grew up watching films like this in the 90s. You go to video rental store and the shelves were full of airplane hijack movies,
Yes.
this kind of thriller. So I was like, actually, this is something I can tap into. So it's not like, yeah, it may not be science fiction, it may not be horror or other genres, but I can tap into what this film wants to be. And I got excited about it and wanted to do this kind of edge of the seat kind of thriller in the best way of the 90s sort of films that entertained me when I was a kid. And I was really enjoying that kind of film, simple but serious with action, tenseness, and with sort of that kind of elements. That was sort of what I wanted to bring into that. But the serious side of the topic, and obviously the whole hijacking scheme and the whole thing about political unrest in the world,
Yeah.
it is at the same. Like if you look at the world where we are right now, you look at the situation in the world, this is where we are living right now. The whole political tenseness of the world is just building up and building up. And as
Right.
a filmmaker, you can't really not touch it if you want to do a proper film. You cannot ignore the fact. So
No.
that's definitely a sort of a, how would I say, like a backstage element of the whole thing. That's something that I wanted to bring in there.
Good. Something that was of interest was Oceanic Flight 420, and in Lost, it was Oceanic Flight 815, 815. Is that
Yes,
is that a common thing in movies, having the oceanic airlines?
yeah, funnily enough, actually it is, because the Oceanic airline, which is used in Lost, is also kind of like the Acme company, which is the company that does basically everything in the movies. It's the airline that doesn't exist, but which has been used in actually several movies.
Mm.
So it was relatively, it was a little nod towards that from the writers to say that this is something, and it sounds pretty believable. I mean, Oceanic Airlines sounds good. So it was easy to grab it from there, but also at the same time enjoy the little nod we can do to the history of films and TV.
Totally, totally. Another thing that's a little controversial is the casting of Alec Baldwin. Was he cast? Was this movie filmed before COVID or during COVID? Was it before the incident with him?
Well, that's an interesting thing. The film itself was shot, I would say, in the last moments of COVID. So we didn't have major COVID protocols anymore in place when we were shooting this. There was some COVID protocols, and there was, if I remember correctly, there was a COVID officer still
Okay,
there, and we were sort of, there was that sort of thing.
good.
I just made a film in the same studio earlier where during the COVID time, and I have to say, as a film director who wears glasses, I hate it because you have this thing and it blurs up you, and I could see half of the movie I was shooting because my eyeglasses were foggy all the time. But I mean, obviously that's what you had to do then. But then nowadays, that was shot. So I would say that that was shot after COVID, but and also right after Alec's incident. And obviously that incident itself, I don't want to go into and don't know too much about. But what I want to say is that this is the first film which happened after that for him. So there was a level of tenseness on the set in regards of that. But Alec was absolutely professional, and he was very, very enthusiastic in working on this movie and really wanted to make the movie as good as possible, although there was this sort of tragedy which he just came off from. And unfortunately that also led to some interest which was not that nice from a lot of media. There was we were shooting in UK, so there was a lot of sort of the paparazzis were sort of swarming around trying to capture pictures of him and all of that. So it was kind of weird undertone to the whole thing. But the crew itself, I think everybody was really respectful for what had happened. He himself was playing it very professionally. So in that sense, it was very, it happened, but at the same time, like he was working on it through it very professionally.
Did you always have him in mind as the Tin Man?
Well, definitely he was actually already when I was given the script, it was said that that the conversations had already started with him. So he was sort of like in the discussion, and if you think about it, like that was another thing which brought me very interested in this movie, because when you think about like a perfect cast for a CIA or NSA or whatever operative, like a perfect cast for this kind of character who is like government official who has all the pride and sort of the boisterous nature of that kind of thing, the power tripping kind of guy. That's exactly the kind of guy that you see him play in many cases. Obviously, as a character, as a person, he's very, very different, and that's obviously the actor thing. But the character fit him very perfectly. So in that sense, it was very, very easy cast for him. And when it comes to Johnathan Rhys Meyers, he came a little bit later, but he was something whom I've always been a big fan of, Johnathan Rhys Meyers, and that energy that he brought, because he is a very, very intensive actor, like very intensive actor, up to the point of it being sometimes a little bit tricky to work with. I would say in a positive way, but anyway, like he's very intense and he's very demanding in the sense like he really wants the reality out of the scene. So bringing that kind of energy there into the plane was also very, very nice thing for me. So marrying them together to these two actors, and then adding with MyAnna for the female role, it was extreme. I think it was a very interesting combo of actors, which was very nice to work with. Each brought their own sort of Alec bringing his authority, and MyAnna bringing, she's really good and
MyAnna's great
actress. Yes, and then you bring in Johnathan, and it's like that energy. They all, I think, work together very nice. So that was very nice.
Well, firstly, like you said with Alec, you want someone with an authority figure. He's very good at folding his arms and pointing at screens, but then his acting is just amazing as well.
It's
Johnathan,
true,
yeah. And Johnathan, I mean, we can say spoilers, but there's a nice little twist concerning Johnathan his character that I didn't see coming. So that was really good too towards the end, and it was so believable from him.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to. Love this, and like I said, I don't want to talk about the spoiler bit too much because I want people to sort of find it out. But it was interesting to, it was nice to bring in a character that actually has that kind of thing. And yeah, Alec is great at pointing at screen. I mean, he is great in front of the camera because of the amount of experience an actor of that scale has, because he comes in and he overtakes the space, and it doesn't matter what the space is. If it's a green room, right, like in his case, it was mostly green screen because there was only screens there, so there was nothing but he lives there. He knows exactly what's on that screen and on that screen, and everybody believes it. And that's something that only a really experienced actor can bring in, because if you're less experienced with working, let's say, with green screen, you always are very worried what's there. It doesn't matter. Like, this is his workplace. He knows exactly what's everywhere, so he doesn't make a big charade out of it. He knows that screen is there and that info is there, and that kind of thing is nice to work with. And in addition to that, because we had a very tight schedule, I mean, that's one of the things about this movie, was that I was given the script and I was said Alec Baldwin is in. So I was given script, Alec Baldwin is in. I was given, like, that's nice, airplane, everything, and then you have 18 days to shoot it. And I was like, 18 days? Are you having a laugh, mate? And then I was, first, of course, I was like, this is crazy. 18 days, what can I do with this? But then I decided that in order, because this is 97 minutes, that's not a lot of time. 18 days is very little time in a film sense. So I thought that if I can take that sort of tenseness of having to work on a very tight schedule to solve this issue, if I can make it like that, I think I can transfer some of that tension to the screen. And that was something that really was possible, but only because of the cast being so experienced. So Alec knew exactly when I said, okay, I don't have a lot of time, unfortunately, and then here we go, and then I stop over here. So like, we need to get this camera angle over here. I said, don't worry, Timo, I haven't been doing TV soap opera for years and years for nothing. I know exactly how to do this. And then he goes in, he walks in, stops at that exact right time. Only thing he needs to know, what lens are you shooting on? And then he knows how to stop, turn his face, right angle, knows exactly where the framing is. And that's what you get with experience. Like, that's what you get with experienced actors. Like, they don't phase off when you have a tight schedule. They understand the situation, because not every film is $150 million picture with 900 minute shooting days. Some films are tighter, and you just have to play with the cards that are given to you.
It's a moderately budgeted movie, but I can't believe it's 18 days. But you had jets, you had interior and exterior jets and airline, passenger airline. You had the control room. That's pretty great. It must have been a good studio to have that all set up and just.
Our thing was, yes, that's definitely thanks partially to the studio, but I think one of the important things was that when we started to talk these early stages, obviously the first question is, how do we do the plane? And my question was like, are we gonna build it from scratch in the studio? Like, that sounds expensive. He said, no. There actually is a company in the UK which is focused only on renting airplane sets. So you can go there, you can say, I want to have 737 Boeing, and then they bring 8 to 10 huge trucks that bring that set, which is in small chunks where you can remove all the walls, all the windows, and it is an actual, it's furnished exactly like a plane, and they use that quite a lot in TV and films and everything like that. In our case, it was, we brought the whole thing. Usually you only need like a small section. We brought the whole thing and put it together, but that was the possibility that we were able to do this in a reasonable time. And I mean, if it's not, of course, cheap to bring that in, but it's still much more cheaper and much more controllable than really starting to build it from the scratch, which would have been, I don't even know how much. But so that helped quite a lot. And then visual effects, I mean, it's always a trick, try to find the right balance between visual effects and the quality and the speed, time, and the teams and everything. And because especially nowadays,
it looked effective.
It's they serve the purpose very well, and there's some stuff that I'm like, this is actually really nice, and managed to sell the story, and in the end, that's what counts. Like unless you have so much money, you have to be very happy with, as long as you can sell the story and make it look good. And I think it does that, and that's where it is.
Well, the cockpit looked like a flight simulator that had been all dressed up, but it looked real. It looked great.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know exactly how what pieces they use for the cockpit to build it up, but it was the only thing I know, that it is not a real airplane cockpit. So when Johnathan, being a very, very intense actor, he comes into the set, and there was like an intense scene, and he was like punching the buttons, and you trying, and of course the whole thing starts falling apart because it's not made for that. It's not made for this and that. So he was like, come on guys, this is like, I didn't realize that this thing is gonna break. That's this is not this, it's still
No.
So we have to be a little bit more careful with the sort of, on a normal plane, I guess you can basically do quite a lot to break it, but still it is a set, so you'll have to you have to be careful.
I want to thank you for casting Maya. She's great in The Descent 1 and 2, of course, and I've liked her for a while, her work. But I think it's Julie Sitchuk. Her voice was used in some solos, some music.
Sorry, can you say that again? Which one? Sorry, I couldn't hear that. Can you say that again?
I was just saying that Julie Sitchuk was quite good. Her voice was used in some music in some the end credits. I just thought I'd highlight.
Yeah. True. That's actually something that that's true. I understand. Yeah.
What about Finland movies? Any Finland movies that have been an inspiration for you? Finnish film.
Well,
recently I liked Hatching.
Which one? Hatching? Yeah, well, Hatching, lately there's been a couple of really good. I think another one which I really recommend everybody to watch is called Sisu, Sisu. It's about a very angry guy in Lapland starting to kill Nazis, and that's a really fun movie. And other Finnish movies which I would mention, out of lately, there hasn't been anything that's like in this kind of genre or action. We don't do so much action movies in Finland. It's more drama and more sort of European drama. So films like Hatching and Sisu, and before that, like obviously Iron Sky, which I did, and then Rare Exports and stuff like that. They are quite rare examples of what we have. But usually Finnish films are more a drama, more a hardcore drama. Like there's a new one called The Fallen Leaves, which is supposed to be really, really good by Alec Baldwin, but it's not an airplane hijack movie or anything like that. So it's a different one. But Sisu, I really suggest go see Sisu. It also has great airplane sequences.
Yeah, it's just been showing in the theatre in Australia. So I'm sure it'll be streaming soon.
Yeah, I think I'm starting to see it also streaming in Europe right now. So I'm sure it's going to follow soon. So definitely do check out that one.
A couple more before we wrap up. Do you have a director's chair with your name on it?
No, I don't have a director's chair, but I do have something. Don't have it right now here with me, but I do have a small figure of Captain Picard from Star Trek, which is cool. which I always demand to be next to the monitor when I'm shooting, and I always give it on the first day of the shoot. I give it to whoever is responsible of the monitors, the shooting monitor. I say this needs to be every time next to the monitor, otherwise I'm not shooting. It's my sort of good luck totem. So that's something.
That's cool. There's a lot of remakes and a lot of reboots around. If you could remake a movie, what do you think it would be? If you had a chance to remake a classic movie, or would you not want to do that because you don't want to mess?
Yeah, I think I have a little bit of I have to say, controversial experiences in doing remakes or reboots, so stuff like that. I did this film, Jeepers Creepers, which was not necessarily received very well by the community. So I don't know if I would first go in and do a remake. I have a feeling that the way I make movies, it's better to try to do something original. But if I was given a chance to choose anything to do a remake of, I probably would go into a very old movie and this is a big dream of mine as a Finnish guy. It's a bit old movie. It's called Sinuhe. It's about ancient Egypt. They made a movie out of it. It's based on a Finnish novel. They made a
Right.
movie about it in 1950s. It wasn't a huge hit even then, but it was a big Hollywood project. And I always felt that that's a beautiful story that would be very beautiful to be retold in with modern sort of visual effects and modern possibilities, because it's a big and epic story. So Sinuhe would be something that I would choose if I were to choose. But I have to say that outside of that, I would be very careful to choose what I would go remake, because you always, when you start remaking something, you have to realize that the baggage and the fans of the earlier movies, they will follow you, and fans have their own expectations, and the baggage sets certain limitations which may make your work remarkably complicated or hard. Now, there are very, very successful remakes. I'm not saying it's impossible to do, but at the same time, there are, if there is out of that, I would not. It's these made the films are already made, and these films are like this. Everything doesn't need to continue forever. I have to say that, but that goes through hard learning. That goes through hard learning.
Yeah, no more Jeepers Creepers.
I'm not going to do any more Jeepers Creepers. I can't say if the guys who own the IP, or if they want to do, and they can do whatever they want, but I'm not going to do another Jeepers Creepers. That's for sure.
Well, I saw it. It wasn't that bad. I don't think it deserved, but it has a bad baggage. I get that.
Yeah, it has a baggage, and it has a load of things that just made making the movie. And it was also shot during the COVID era, which also, like, all of these things, they weighted down the experience. So and probably something that creates, but again, like, and about that movie, I mean, there are things that I'm very proud of that in that movie, but also there's a lot of things that I know that I would have done completely differently if this situations and the people in charge would have been different. But then that's past, that's what happened, and they're looking forward, that's what I'm doing.
Well, looking forward, what's next? Is there anything about that you're working on, or is it a bit secret?
Well, there's a bit of a secret. I can tell just in general what I'm working on. It's not necessarily a secret. It's just better not to talk about stuff that isn't real, because unfortunately the film world is like, you only know that you're going to do this movie on the day you arrive to the set. You can be planning for a year for something, and it may not happen. But in general, I'm currently working on a sci-fi film, feature film, which I wrote, which will be shot now starting next month, and so that's out sometime next year, I would think so. I don't know actually. Then, in addition to that, there's 2 TV shows that I'm involved in as a writer. As a director, and then there's a film called Kill Town, which I'm also involved in, and there's also a documentary that I'm working. So I have a good bag of stuff that I'm working on. But right now, the sci-fi thing is the first thing that I'm going to be shooting.
Have you got a working title for the sci-fi movie?
I do, but I better not say it until I don't even say the working title, because also I know that people on the internet, they are very good in digging out stuff, and there's a lot of stuff you don't want to be leaking out until you have something really nice to show, and that's something that I better not say anything. All I can say that it's a cool sci-fi film.
All right, I respect that, but I want to talk to you about it.
Absolutely, yeah.
And finally, why should people watch 97 Minutes? In your own words, as the director, there's a lot of movies to choose from. I know it's a good, snappy action film. Reminds me of Passenger 57. I remember Passenger 57 with Wesley Snipes. It's a little bit like that.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Why should people watch it?
Well, I really think that when I was a child and I enjoyed certain type of sort of Hollywood action movies, which had very kind of simple, straightforward, and contained plot with great actors. it didn't have too many bells and whistles. It had what it needed, but it was quite it was contained, and that was the stuff that really kept me entertained. You go to the, like I said, the video rental store, you pick up a VHS, you go home, you watch it, you're like fully entertained. This is what I wanted to do with 97 minutes. It's 93 minutes of you know, tension and fun and action, and leaves you like with a and then plays also with elements like you said, fear of flying and elements like, so all of that sort of in a package, takes you on a ride which leaves you smiling afterwards, hopefully. So I would say that's the reason to check it out. I know it's not the next Scorsese movie, it's not a 3 hour thriller, it's not the next Avatar, but it is a definite action-packed 93 minutes, which you can spend much worse. You can, for example, I don't know, do something stupid for 93 minutes. Why not watch a nice movie? And also, like I said, it's nice to see these great actors together. I think that's the value.
Yeah. Speaking of VHS, there's that's
look at that.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow, that is a nice one. This is from where? Look at that. Oh,
I have a very big VHS collection.
You do? Okay.
I just rewatched it on empty. River Phoenix.
Yeah, I feel really, really, that's a really great film. I really feel bad I had a collection of VHS, but I gave it up a long time ago.
Oh, no.
Then I had a DVD collection, and I even gave up that. And now I have my vinyl record collection that I'm not gonna give up. So
Good.
Yeah.
All right, I'll stop the recording. Thank you so much.
Thank you.